Let's face it, most of us did not grow up learning about money. And here we now are, over 40, trying to figure out money that we're going to live off for the rest of our lives in another country when we probably didn't even have the basic foundational education that we needed to make such big decisions. At this point, we are really kind of going off of what we learned by the way, from videos, from social media posts, from conversations with our friends, not necessarily from people with really strong financial advice. And you know another thing? What worked for our parents probably is not going to work for us. And some of the things that we did and are doing, they're just not working in this economic environment. I mean, let's be honest, so much has really changed. How money moves has changed, how we make money has changed. And so there's so many things we're going to have to unlearn, especially if we want to have a solid life abroad where money is not going to be an issue. We're going to have to find ways to go ahead and produce income or have stable income, and maybe not in the traditional ways that we are accustomed to. Some of the assumptions I had to come away from was, hey, that my job was going to be my source of income. And I had to realize that sometimes not in the most convenient ways. So in 94, was it 94? Well, 2003, I made a big decision to leave the country with toddler children and my then spouse and move to Nigeria. And making that decision, it wasn't a financial decision. It was a decision about my values and how I wanted to raise my children. At that point, I was working for a major airline. I was getting up and dropping my children in the daycare center when it was dark. I was picking my children up from that daycare center and it was dark. And I knew I did not want to raise children that way. I knew if I moved to another country, I would have more freedom to be able to spend time with my children, my spouse, and I still would somehow be able to figure out how to earn a living. At that point when I moved, I had no idea how I was going to get money. Actually, I wasn't even thinking about trying to make money. I was thinking about running a nonprofit. That was really my focus. And so moving, I left a very good job with solid benefits. And I don't know if you know, working for the airline, there's some really sweet privileges of the fact that you can fly free, and not just in coach, but business class and first class. And so people thought I was kind of weird. Like, why would you do that? Why would you give up your stability at your job? Why would you give up this income? And of course, you know, all the things that come with it. At that time, there was pensions and 401ks that came with that job as well. But I had to realize for me, it wasn't just about income. It was about the value in the possibilities of what could happen when I live with my children and be able to raise my children, not only just to raise them, but raise them in another culture, a culture that their father was from, a country that they were from, and also for them to learn those values. And so in doing this, most people are thinking, well, that was pretty irresponsible. And some of the things that we are thinking about right now today doing, leaving your home that you know, leaving the environment that you know, taking early retirement, or leaving even before you retire for a life doesn't seem like financial conventional sense. And that is what we need to have to unlearn. We need to change our thinking around what makes good money sense. Because as we see, companies are crumbling. We look at the numbers. We see how many people are unemployed. That number is just going up. And so if we think that income from a job is our way out, we have seen that is not the way. We have recognized time and time again, that is not how we're going to survive. We are not going to have a life of stability by just depending on someone else sending us a check for us showing up at their place of employment by doing some work. And so that is one of the things I learned quickly. I learned quickly that, hey, I don't have to have this conventional income every single from this company for me to have a good life, for me to have a life abroad. And so when I move abroad, I now decided, what could I do? So I told you I started a nonprofit, and that was what I was interested in doing, and I did. And in doing that, it made sense for me because I wanted to give back at this time of my life in this country. Because the standard of living was a lot lower, I didn't have to worry as much about income coming in. The money that he was making was enough. And so therefore, that was enough to support us. And so with that, it kind of feels like, what? You walked away. At that time, I had 18 years with that company. We have been taught, work really hard, collect your retirement, get your pension, then or contribute to your 401k, save your money, be disciplined. We forgave, or we deny ourselves of so many things because of this one day lifestyle that we're hoping that we're going to have. But what we have to realize is the one day is right now. Right now, we need to start preparing for a future. And perhaps that, don't spend money on coffee, don't get that Starbucks coffee, or don't go out with your friends, because our parents were taught about get yourself a house, get yourself, really tangible things, that's what they were very into. But we are realizing that experiences are so far more. I love the fact that I can spend money to create memories with my children, with my friends. That is a shift that we are going to have to start learning how to make if we want to enjoy our life abroad. Because moving abroad, you will start to see that when you're living there, you're not going to be building up stuff. What you're going to be doing is enjoying your life to the fullest. You're going to be connecting with new friends. You're going to be experiencing new things. It's all about the experience. That is one of the things we're going to have to unlearn. We're going to have to change our mindset and thinking that our wealth, our finances is about buying things and consuming things, but it is about us enjoying our life to the fullest. We deserve it. We have been living a life for everyone else. It's your time, girl, to start enjoying your life. That assumption is really hard for us because it almost seems like we're being selfish. But isn't that why we work hard, so we can have nice things? Could nice things be intangible things? Nice times, nice memories. That is something we want to think about. The other thing you want to think about is what else is holding you back from really enjoying the money that you have, right? What else did we assume that we would have? Because a lot of times we look at our income and we're like, that's the money I'm going to have forever. But we know people are getting laid off left, right, front, and center. We look at our savings accounts and we think, oh, okay, well, those are the numbers that I'm going to need. But really, it's kind of hard to predict, especially when you're still on stateside, how much money you're really going to need, because our lifestyles are going to change. I am telling you for sure. Your lifestyle is going to change. You're going to be doing things that you probably did never done. I met this man who walks with us in our walking club every Friday. And he was telling me that when they were living in the States, they were pretty much homebodies, him and his wife. He's married. They were homebodies. He pretty much played his golf. He came back and that was it. She played her bridge. She came home and that was it. But now that they have now moved to another country, he's like, we are such social butterflies. We're out all the time. He's like, I can't even believe this is us. Why? They have more time. They have more freedom. They have more people around them who are also in that stage of life. So we have to shift this mindset that our money that we have in the bank is not enough or it's going to be enough. We have to kind of look at our numbers and ask ourselves, what lifestyle do we want? And that's going to help us determine how we are going to live. The other thing you want us to think about is, yes, you have been working hard. Yes, you have put money away in the bank. You've invested that money. You've saved that money. You're debt free. But at any time, if you don't plan on an exit plan at any time, I know you said that, oh, I'm going to leave in 5 years or whatever. I thought so too. I was going to leave in 5 years. But my exit came 5 years earlier than I expected. And if we look at the numbers, 60% of people actually have to leave their jobs before they're expected, especially us over 50, because of downsizing, restructuring, layoffs, uh, illnesses, our own bodies failing us, going home to be caregivers. So many things interrupt that plan. So we can't make this assumption that the income that we have, we're going to have forever. We should start creating plans, exit strategies that says, if I had to leave today, could I go? What would I do? How would I live? That's why it's important for us to know our numbers. Know your numbers. Know how you want to live. Know what's important for you. Know how you want your life to be. That is what you want to think about. Because at the end of the day, there's so many things that we could be putting money into that would help us to carry us along. Our investments, and that could be everywhere from the stock market to real estate to crypto. It could be online money that we're making, digital income that's coming in. So realize that perhaps all the way that we thought we were going to make money, how we thought our money was going to be spent, could be totally different at this point in our life. We are different people. We are very different people, and we're about to enter a stage of our life that we have never seen before. But first, before we can enter that, we need to get a change of our mindset on how we want our money to be spent. Are we willing to give up all the tangibles for the intangible assets that we would give our lives and memories and experiences? This is the beginning of unlearning a life of financial values that perhaps were never ours, that we were thrust upon, and now forming financial values that make sense for us. These are the ones that would drive your ability to live international. I hope you begin to rethink how you want to spend your money, not because of what others told you how it should be spent, but because of how you know you want to spend your money, and then you can decide how much you need. I'm Sabre, your bougie girlfriend, and until next time, continue to live an elevated life.